where I talk about all things faith, family, food, and fun. Driving, like my usual, thinking my thoughts, in my thoughts, with my thoughts. And this thought occurred to me that if I don't record now, the rest of my weekend is probably going to be too busy for me to do so. So I had that series I was doing with y'all of things not to say to someone who's had a pregnancy loss. This one just crossed my mind. And I'm doing these now also with the intent of saying, not only are there things not to say that just aren't helpful, but also sometimes offering the counter suggestion. This one came to mind to me because I spoke with someone today who said this to me and said it in a way that it was like a balm for my wounded soul, like that lyric says. And she said, God has a plan for you. God has a plan and purpose in this. And what is so good about that is it's the opposite of what I was going to say. Like, don't tell people when they've had a pregnancy loss, you can't question God, or God's in control, because they may not be at that point of feeling that way. And I am also one of those people that does not agree that it's fair to say to somebody, you can't question God. I question God because I expect an answer. I question God because we have so many examples biblically that I can't really quote right now because I'm driving and I can't look it up. But we can fact check this. Like, we have played, like, David questioned God. Who was the, like, was Daniel in the lion's den questioned God? Maybe not that one. Scratch that one. I don't know that one for sure. I know David questioned God. Like, David in all of the Psalms that are written, like, asked God many questions, like cries out to God in many situations and shares his sadness, his pain, his hurt, what the questioning of God that I am in support of and that I know is to be true is with an expectation that God is going to answer. And I question God a lot in this process because I said, how have I prayed and travailed and poured my heart out praying for other people's babies and their miracles, and my baby doesn't get born? How have I put myself and stood in the gap for people that don't even acknowledge me anymore, don't acknowledge that I even exist, and were definitely not a person who supported me in my depth of pain that I went through with this? I questioned God, like, why would you do that to me? Why would you leave me in that situation? But the way that this person said to me really spoke a lot of life into me of God has a purpose in this. And one day you'll look back and you'll understand it. Sometimes with all of this, you got to know your place and your space and your role in somebody's life. You can't just speak on everybody like that. But when you know this person, if you've really been in the trenches with this person, if that's something God has given you to say, that's different. But to just tell somebody, don't question God, it's going to work out. Like, sometimes words that we say, again, that we think are comforting are not so. So I wanted to get that thought out again before I forgot it. I wanted to get that thought documented. I'm going to post this one soon because sometimes I sit on them, but I'm going to post this one because it's not helpful to tell somebody that's had a pregnancy loss or in life in general not to question God, especially if that's their relationship where they look to God for an answer. Because you want an answer when you go through that, and you may not get it. I may not ever fully understand on this side of heaven, but I'm not going to say, oh, I can't ask God, because I expect God to answer. I expect God to show me purpose and plan and to make it clear to me, even if it's just in part before I know the whole. Because the Bible does say that we know in part and one day we shall know the whole. That's scripture you can stand on. And I've stood on it many times in my life. And like I've said to y'all before, I had to realize in this process to remember to know what I've always known. And I know that I know God. So I want to leave that with you. As always, this is Fix It with Friend, where I talk about all things faith, family, food, and fun. Gotta go pick up my baby girl, but I want to leave with you my true belief that God has given us all gifts and talents that can fix some problem that exists in the world. And while we may not be able to fix everything, I want to remind and encourage you to remember that we can all fix something. So I'll come back at y'all with some more of these thoughts later on. See ya. Bye.